What's up, everybody? Peace, peace. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Peace, peace, peace. I ain't been on live in a while. So I just wanted to hop on, kind of show y'all what I've been up to. And I want y'all to make this candle with me. What's going on? How we gonna make this candle? What's up, Manny HD92? What we making today is a very specific candle. Today we making a root chakra candle. All right, so I'll give everybody a little minute to kind of get on in. But y'all drop in the comments. Let me know how y'all been. What's going on? Peace, peace. Hello, am the whole thing. Okay. Lottie Chris, doing well. Glad to see you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. There's been a lot happening here lately. I know I've been MIA, y'all. So, just wanted to hop on and let y'all know what's been going on. Okay, Lux Girl 82. Glad you're doing well. Glad you're doing well. Life is good. Can't complain. I heard that. I heard that for sure. So, oh, thank you. Thank you. We making this candle. As y'all can see, I got my, heat-resistant gloves on. But I'm only making one candle, so I just got a single hot plate with a small canister for this candle because we only making one. I just want to make one for demonstration purposes and when I'm trying out new blends and new smells, new combinations, or, if I need to do a product photo, I need to show the candle. And I happen to not have any root candles at the moment. So I need to make one to just have to set aside with the rest of them that I have just for display purposes. And so I already got the wax in the canister. So while we are waiting for that to melt, we're going to kind of chit chat a little bit about, just kind of how I got into this pretty much. And we got our thermometer. So we got to get the wax to a certain temperature. And once we get it to a certain temperature, we remove it from the heat. And we wait for it to come to the optimal temperature for us to add the oil. Now, I already put the oil blend kind of together. So we specifically using oils that are aligned or connected to either the element of earth, root chakra itself, or the planet of Saturn, because that's the energy that correlates to the root chakra. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of toss this in here. I know it's a little too soon, but we're going to just put it in there. Maybe I'm going to keep my eye on it. Y'all might have to remind me to check it. So let's see. Let me stir a little bit. If we already getting kind of up there. It doesn't really take the wax long at all to, get up to temperature for it to melt. Especially since I'm only doing one candle, right? So I'm doing the one candle. We're doing a root chakra candle, and we're going to dress this candle a little bit. Now, we're going to make it red. I'm using a non-toxic coloring because I try to use things that's as natural as possible, even down to the oils. The oils are all essential oils. We're not using, the manufactured fragrance smells because me personally, I don't really do too well with those. They kind of bothersome to me. So if it's not good for me, I'm not going to make it for somebody else. And the whole purpose of the essential oils is that's the naturalist, oil that's made from the actual plant or herb. So we want to keep it as natural as possible, right? We want to keep it as natural as possible. And so we get our little stir on. So I already have the oil sitting aside. Now, like I said, we're going to dress the candle. We're going to make it red because we're dealing with chakras. We're doing chromotherapy, right? So what I mean by chromotherapy is we are, colors are like visible. They're visible manifestations of vibrating frequency of sound. So that's why each chakra correlates to a specific color. So we're going to use red, right? Now we're also going to utilize aromatherapy in the essential oils. If you're not aware, the thing about aromatherapy is that essential oils have the power to take down barriers that can hinder us. So it's a way to enter into your subconscious through your sense of smell, dealing with your olfactory nerve, which is one of your cranial nerves. All right, so let me see. All right, so the temperature is pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and move it off. Let me turn this off. Y'all, the kids is still up in there. They don't have, they on fall break, so, you know. All right, we gotta let that cool a little bit. So, as I was saying, we use those specific essential oils or certain essential oils for means of aromatherapy. Now, we're also utilizing crystal therapy, and we are going to add certain crystals. Certain gemstones can help to harmonize or balance out the chakras. And we're going to even add a little more. We're going to put some kind of flowers and herbs that add to it. So, I kind of have everything already set here. For us to use, so we don't have to go hunting for anything. So I already have, we're going to put it in this tin canister. Okay, we got a wick that we're going to put in there. All right, and whatever little tools that I kind of use. We have the spoon to stir. I use tweezers when it comes to placing gemstones and flowers and things like that. So, you know, this is how we're going to make this candle. So while we are waiting for that, let me show y'all some that I have already made. Right now, this one is not a chakra candle. It's actually a sacred space candle. So what this candle is for you burn this, especially specifically in places of your home that you want to make more sacred of a space, where you want to meditate, where you want to connect to a higher power, where you want to, you know, kind of maintain a space. If you have an altar, it will be ideal for like an altar space. Or like I said, if you just meditate, it would be perfect to utilize during meditation. Right? So the thing about the sacred candle, it has sage. It got sage in it. Right? It got sage. What else did I put in this? We got some amethyst. We have chrysanthemums. See that a little bit? And we got a lily flower in there. Right? And we also got clear quartz, amethyst, and what's the other one? Blue apatite, I believe. But these is pretty much all for the purposes of that sacred space. All right, we're still waiting on this. We got to let the temperature come down a little bit more. Right? So that's a sacred space candle. Right? And we got, let's see, this is the heart chakra. This one smells good. This is the heart chakra. All right, so when looking at the heart chakra, we have, what's that? The rose quartz. This one also has sage. You have green jasper, green aventurine. We have a little bit of jasmine in here as well. So this is the heart chakra. I'm steady checking back on the temperature, y'all. Steady checking back on the temperature. So that's the heart chakra. All right, this is the third eye. Ooh. Yeah, see, these are the display ones. This is the third eye. If you can kind of see that one, right? So this is the third eye candle, and in the third eye candle we have the blue lapis. We have honeysuckle, I believe that is this in there. This one smells good too. But you know, most of the time, if you have done energy work, right, and in the process of purchase what's considered magical candles, energy candles, the focus isn't really on the smell. It's more so about the color and like what's really in it. But I put a little emphasis in the smell because I do want it to smell good. You know, and this one I did in the glass container. This is a peace and protection. And this right here, now this is a bomb one right here. So you got sage, clear quartz, some obsidian in here, some aloe vera. This is to reverse negative energy that people are sending your way. So people sending negative energy, you got the peace and protection. And okay, so before we move on, all right, so we can add the essential oils to it now. And we're gonna add it And we gotta pretty much stir for 2 minutes. We gotta stir for 2 minutes. Let's make sure we get it all in there. See, I've been just working on my process. Candles has been something that's been in the workings for me for about the past 2 years. So this is something I've been studying for the past 2 years, just trying to get my blends right, how I want to do it right. And I finally started to actually, make them for the intentions of purchasing. Every time you try to move on, the 5-6 blind will pop up in your head. I mean, I don't know. It might be some type of bond going on there. There might be somebody that might be attached to you. It might still be lessons there that you gotta learn. Or, sometimes it could be energy manipulation and somebody purposely trying to stay on your mind. And you might have to, break that tie, break that bond. Could be a multitude of things, right? So, but over the past 8 months or so, 8 months to a year, I've been preparing to launch this candle business, right? So, this is what I've really been spending a lot of my time doing. So I tend to sometimes, test out blends, like I said, see how I like them, burn them for myself and just check on, because these are all genuine handmade candles. I'm not getting these candles from nobody else. Like, I'm making them in my house, you know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is. Okay, let me recheck the temperature. Because you got to do everything at a certain temperature. The reason why you want to wait a certain temperature is so the wax takes to the oil. You want to make sure that the oil settles in and is concentrated within the oil. You put it in too early while it's too hot, it'll pretty much like burn the oil up and the smell won't really be there. So it's not as much harm when you wait a little longer. But there's like this optimal window that you want to utilize, Peace to everybody coming in. Peace if you're just coming in. All right, so, and once we get to a certain temperature, we'll add the dye, we'll add the color. Now, as I said, it's non-toxic. So, that's how we're going to do that. And we good on adding the color. Let's add the color. So, we're going to add a little red. Right, because we working with the color itself, right? In my personal work, I find that it's best to utilize as much as possible when you have certain blockages and certain energy centers. So you got mudras, certain hand positions that work with certain chakras, right? There's certain foods that balance out certain chakras. Right? There's certain sound frequencies. There's certain yoga positions. So all of this is just a means of holistically healing your energetic body. As above, so below. As within, so without. So if we know that what goes on within is what happens without, and when we're looking at illnesses and dis-ease within the body, it starts with the energy first. So when you're dealing with these energy blockages, they can, pretty much, prolong and cause certain illnesses or diseases and things of that nature to be in the body. Okay, so from here, we're just waiting to pour. So before we pour, we want to go ahead and set the wick in. So, setting in the wick, we are going to use this and put on the end of the wick, right? And we peel off this side. Me being me, I like to put it so I can keep it in the middle. So, you can see like so. So I put that in there that way. Let me push that down a little bit, yeah. So So we make sure we get that down. I'm about to go in there and get them boys. They loud. Y'all hear them? See, they know I'm in here occupied. All right, so where we at? So yeah, so we waiting a little bit so we can pour it. And gemstones we're gonna use garnet. We're gonna use red jasper, red agate, obsidian is a good one for your root chakra. So everything that we're doing is, you know, all the means of what harmonizes their root chakra. So we're just trying to harmonize. If you specifically know you got issues dealing in the root chakra. Now, give me just one moment. All right. Yeah, Christian, I appreciate all the commenting you doing in the chat. You're the only person really dropping any comments. But you know, I haven't been on live as much, man. You know, so I guess I gotta take that with a grain of salt. Just get a little bit more active with it. But yeah, we still waiting on this temperature to kind of drop down a little bit. So are you talking about like neurodivergent? When you say, you know, disability? What's up, everybody hopping in? What's up? We making a root chakra candle, so, you know, just kind of going through my process a little bit. So, just thought I'd hop on and kind of talk to y'all a little bit. Since I haven't been on as much. Oh, I did not finish showing y'all the candles, right? The ones I already made. How's the family? The family is good. I don't know if you can hear the boys. It's back there loud. But I'm not going to go back there and bother with them right now. But, we got some more. So I showed y'all the heart chakra and the sacred space, right? So this is for the solar plexus. And I love the way this one smells. This is one of my favorites. And so with the solar plexus, everything correlates to dealing with the solar plexus or dealing with the element of fire. So you're dealing with, so as far as what we have in here, we got some tiger's eye, we got some citrine, we got some clear quartz, we got a little lemon in here, a little honeysuckle. So it's a lot, you know, going on with this one, but I love the way this one smells. So, like I said, everything that I put in the candle specifically correlates to what's going to go down with your solar plexus and helping harmonize the solar plexus chakra. Right, boys going to be boys. Like I said, they on their fall break, so they kind of enjoying having a little later bedtime. I appreciate it. Anything happening in these end times, waiting on the UFOs and aliens. Well, you never really know. You know, I'm just kind of just enjoying the show. I'm just kind of sitting back enjoying the show a little bit, you know. This is throat chakra. So this is, oh my bad, y'all can't see that. This is the throat chakra candle. So we got a little lemongrass on here. We got some lapis lazuli. We got some, what else we got in here? We got some, man, why can't I talk right now? A little bit of forget-me-nots in here, but this one correlates to your throat chakra. Now, I just made a fall scented candle. Oh, this one smells real good, but it's not really ready. That one's not really ready. This is third eye. Got a third eye candle. And we got crown crown chakra. All right. We got sacral. Sacral. Now, I do have a love. What is that in here? See, I just keep these for display and for taking pictures, but I might have to do these over. Man, look like getting a little dust getting all in here. So, yeah, this is the sacral chakra. I do have a love candle as well. I need to make another one. Somebody just came in that was like an AT&T person, and she just wanted to buy the candles right off of me. So, hey, whatever it is. This is peace and protection. I don't know if I showed y'all this, but this is peace and protection. So this is for anybody or the people that's sending negative energy your way. It reverses it. It's to cut that on out right there. So this one right here, this was on point. Okay, and yeah, I did that one. Now I just tried this one out. I've been working on a marble effect, but I don't like it too much. I don't like how it turned out. But it's for calming and relaxing. So if you know you're dealing with difficult people, or if difficult people are going to come and be in your midst and you want to try and keep things calm, that's what this one is for. And this was another one I was testing out. It's an earth. This is an earth candle. So earth element. So everything dealing with earth, you're talking about, stability, prosperity, your money, and all that. We dealing with this in this earth. We should be good on the temperature now. Let's check and see. All right, just a little bit longer. So we're waiting for it to drop to about 135 before we pour. I appreciate it. If y'all want to purchase any of the candles, then go to cosmicparadoxshop.com. That's where you can get the candles from. Can I cater to you? I can't do that. I can't do that now. What product is there? Which one? But what's been going on? What y'all want to talk about? Anything y'all want to bring up? It's a lot that's been going down. A lot been going down lately. But yeah, we got our whole little network. We as far as shipping out, I'm gonna do some videos showing me shipping out candles and just how that whole process, just keeping everybody open to my process, because I felt it was probably better to go ahead and bring my followers along to see what I have going on and see what I've been doing as I build this whole thing, So we're about ready to pour. All right. And you should already be able to smell, smell the candle. Any tips on manifesting, trying to get a Lexus truck? Well, when it comes to manifesting, you really just have to get to a point where you put yourself in a position of being deserving, and what happens is a lot of times we fight that resistance that we're dealing with, but you're not really supposed to fight the resistance. What I mean when I say resistance in this instance, I'm talking about the parts of us that's saying that we're not going to have that, we can't get that, we're not good enough for that, whatever that is. You have to work with that and work through that. You're going to have to do a little bit of that work to kind of do that. A post-traumatic candle from dealing with the hurricanes. You in Florida? I know I grew up in eastern North Carolina, and we used to get hurricanes a lot too. I remember one year when I believe I was in like the 4th grade, I got a hurricane on my birthday. So, and it's been wild out here. Is it just me, or are these hurricanes coming a lot later than they used to? I don't remember it being bad hurricanes like this in October. Or am I tripping? Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. But science and all its advancements thinks that it has the upper hand or the ability to be able to do things that only nature can do. And we seen it historically before, or so-called historically before. Being, even if we go back as far as Atlantis, it was the technology that made Atlantis fall, right? So I'm not really surprised at all. They saying that you could see the northern lights in parts of Georgia. How is that possible? That is weird. That is weird. Oh, you live in East Carolina too. Oh, okay. I'm from Tarboro. You hear me? I'm from Tarboro. So, you know, Tarboro, Princeville, when we had Hurricane Floyd back in 99 and we got flooded out. So I'm all too familiar with how them hurricanes cannot have no mercy. So, you know, sending you the best out there to anybody who's had to deal with any misfortune dealing with her. Oh, you right there in Greenville. Come on now. All right. It's right there in my neck of the woods. Okay. All right, that's cool. Oh, okay, we're good now, y'all. We can pour. All right, so we need to pour these. Let me get these candles out of the way. All right, so we're about to pour. I actually prefer to put this on there. Because look at this, y'all. See how it's over there? Now, we're going to cut it once. After 24 hours and it's dried and everything, we'll cut it down anyway. But for now, we're going to kind of... Oh, maybe I need to put the other one back on there, the way this one is leaning. This one is a little better. It's a little more sturdy. Let's see. Y'all can't see it. Okay. All right. So, let's go ahead and pour this candle. I know it ain't too hot, but just for safety purposes. Let me put the gloves back on. Now let's pour. Now you're going to pour slowly. Now it's a nice bright red, but it's not going to really stay this bright. Oh, it's a little too much. I did a little much. Got a little bit left in there. So, all right. So now we pour. Pour it in here. Might make this little candle. Let's see. Let me get another wick. All right. Now, normally I will play music. And it varies in the music that I'm playing, depending on what I'm making, what type of energy or intention I'm putting in it. But, you know, Instagram get funny sometimes. And I always want to, you know, make it about you, how you're monetizing or whatever. So, we just kind of chilling. But jazz gives off a good element. When you're in a creative space, I just like it in the background while I'm doing my thing. I can get lost in it for hours. You know what I'm saying? I could be doing this for hours, but the kids always gonna bring me back down to earth. You know, they gonna come need something. They might be hungry or something. What's up, Fashawn? How's the family, bro? Let me pour this little bit in here. Now, I've been thinking I'm going to start going live more, just making candles. And when I do these new mixes, because I intend to make so many types of candles, y'all. You know, maybe start doing giveaways, things like that. So, you know, I think it'll be nice to kind of do something like that. So I'm just going to make this just for the sake of making it. Because I can burn it, I can test it out, see how I like it, you know. So, and you know, in my mind, I just be burning these candles all over the house. And it ain't just me, it's for the sake of my family, trying to keep that environment at ease and at peace for them. Because I don't know if y'all know, we do a lot from home. You know, we do a lot from home. With the kids, we homeschooling. So it's important that we keep a steady, smooth, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? And cohesive environment and help keep everybody together. So, you know, that's kind of what we on. Now, while I'm waiting for it to kind of you know, start drying or, you know, getting hard a little bit. Getting hard. So I'm gonna kind of lay out some additions I'm gonna put to the candle because it can happen so fast. Oh, these are some carnations and they kind of big. I don't want them all that big, you know. I don't want them all that big. So we're gonna kind of go ahead and get out how we want to dress the candle, what we want to put into the candle to make it easier, and you know, just to go ahead and be prepared. And I'm like this too because there's times I will be making more than one candle. So in those methods, this is just my table where I kind of experiment. So, but if I'm at the big table, I need to make a lot of candles. Then yeah, I need all my materials just already kind of laid out, so I don't miss the window. Cause I hate to miss the window, even though you can always, you know, make the wax or melt the wax again. But I don't like to do that. I'm a perfectionist like that. I can't help it. That's what took me so long in trying to get everything back together, y'all. Like I'm always overdoing, over preparing. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanna study a lot and make sure that I'm well prepared and well equipped all the time. And I guess it's good, but sometimes it can be hindering. And that's how you gotta know how your ego can play with you. Because even with something good, it can still play with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta make sure that you keep the balance, you know? So you gotta keep the balance. So we got a few rose petals. We got some carnation. I don't think I'm gonna use that one. It's too big. Got a little bit of carnation, little rose petals, and a little rose. And we got a good amount of crystals we gonna put in here. So let me go ahead and get that counting together. Now, I make sure I like to burn my own candles. You know, I just feel it would be crazy for me not to use my own product. Right? I mean, maybe that's just me. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm too genuine like that sometimes. So, but that's just my goodness. Oh, that's just my intention. You know what I'm saying? That's just me trying to put my good out there. And that is way too much obsidian. I did not mean to put that many. Because we're using a lot of different, well, not a lot of different, but, you know, we're using different crystals, so we don't need too much of each. So this is my process. This is how I make candles, right? So when you order a candle, I go through this process to make them. So this how you know you getting my energy with it. All right, so we got a lot. What do you mean, what do I normally make? This is my first product of really making, aside from books, you know. But, and books is cool, don't get me wrong. I still love to sell the books. I still love to talk on speaking points from the book. And it really correlates all together with the books, the topic of the books, along with the candles. But, you know, this is something that's actually hands-on. I feel very creative doing it, making it. I don't know if y'all can see. Let me see. Okay, let's see. So I gotta move it just a little bit. Oh, wait. I'm trying to get it in the camera. Okay, there we go. Now this little small one over here. We're gonna just sit that right off to the side. Okay. Ooh. So let's test and see how it does. If it stays on top or if it sinks. Okay. So it went down a little bit, which is kind of how I like it. I don't know if y'all can see it real good, but that's kind of how I like for it to do, kind of. But I like them also to be on the top. So it's like it's within the candle itself. So even the some that's submerged at the bottom, when you light the candle, you're able to see them, more. So we're gonna let it kind of dry a little bit longer. I like it to be more on the top, especially for the stones. We do that last. And there's about a moment when you can tell, you can kind of see the clear little film on top. That's typically when I like to add the stones. Because when the wax starts to get hard, and if the, stones are too heavy, they'll just kind of sink to the bottom, which I don't mind them sinking. But when the wax is already starting to get hard, it cannot be smooth in the end, So I prefer it to be smooth. Like I said, I'm a perfectionist. I can't help it. I can't really help that. But you guys know. Well, now, I made a video a couple weeks back talking about procrastination. If you have issues, struggle with procrastination, you might need to look into your root chakra, between your root chakra and your solar plexus. So feel free, make sure you go back and watch that video because it breaks it down for you pretty well. It breaks it down for you pretty well. Now, when you're dealing with the root chakra, you're dealing with embodiment. That's what your root chakra is about, embodiment. My YouTube channel is the same as my handle. It's The Cosmic Paradox. Please be sure to get subscribed to my YouTube channel. Also, I have a Patreon where I go more in depth for those of you who want to take things a step further, get more in depth with knowledge and the information. So yeah, but when you're dealing with the root chakra, you're dealing with the earth element. You're dealing with the symbol of the square. We're talking about the square or the cube, which it represents the physical. So we're talking about, your root. That's why when people say people are stuck at a low vibration, when they can't rise to their higher chakra frequencies, when they're stuck in the lower levels, you're dealing with things more so of the physical. You get more into spiritual matters in your higher chakras, So when you're dealing with the root chakra, you're dealing with Auset, you're dealing with Jeb, Sekhmet, Shakti, the Kundalini, Ganesha. It's connected to your adrenal glands. So if you've had issues around pertaining to the adrenal glands, that has to do with your root chakra. So quick story, this is what got me into all of this, right? So back in 2009 is when I moved to Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta in 2009, and I used to have a lot of issues with my kidneys. A lot of issues. I couldn't understand why. So when I got here, I really got into the alternative holistic information, and I also got into the knowledge, and it led me into understanding the energy body, studying meridians and things like that, because I moved here for chiropractic school, which was already an alternative form of health anyway. So it kind of led me to this thing that I would find myself completely engulfed in. And it was doing chakra work, adjusting my diet and things like that helped to alleviate those health issues that I have been dealing with all my life. So me personally, my experience has taught me that this is the way of healing. So all I'm doing is just simply sharing it with everybody else. So that's just what I, pretty much find myself putting a lot more time and energy into nowadays, But when you dealing with, when you have a balanced root chakra, when you balance, you feel safe, you feel secure, instead of feeling fearful and rigid, you feel more excitement. But if you're unbalanced, you will feel way more restriction. if you're balanced, you're dealing with an acceptance of yourself, an acceptance of the physical, the limitations that you may have. But when you're in balance, you constantly feel held back. You constantly feel held back. You can deal with lethargy, when you're unbalanced. You can deal with feeling like you can't move, because again, your root deals with your legs. It goes down to the legs. It deals with movement. So that's why, when I say secure, that's why a lot of times when people say, if you find yourself having financial issues, a lot of financial issues, you may want to address your root. So you may want to address your root, because that may be the blockage that's hindering you. Let's see. Let's check this a little bit. Oh yeah, I like that. See, it's floating. I like when it floats. Rose petal in there. Now, typically I would use, or there's sometimes I may use the tweezers, because it's easier to kind of lay it exactly where I want to lay it. Now, it's still not solid enough to add any of the gemstones yet. But like I said, in the meantime, if anybody want to buy any candles, please feel free to do so. Go to thecosmicparadoxshop.com. But aside from that, what we got going on, everybody? And grounding. That's another important thing when you're talking about your root chakra, being grounded. Because especially if you're dealing with your spiritual enlightenment and you feel awakened, you still have to ground that energy. You have to bring it back around and keep it grounded, right? So you go from crown to root, root to crown to root, root to crown. So you want to circulate that energy. So it's important that you be grounded. So you got to be grounded. And that's what a lot of things or activities that you do pertaining to your root chakra. Be grounded. You got to do things that make you feel grounded. Things that put you in the moment. Things that make you use your senses. Because remember, it's embodiment. It's about your body. You have to fully accept your physical self. If you have issues with yourself, with just in the sense of your body itself, that's a root chakra imbalance. So you want to balance that root out. And so the reason why we're dealing with earth element, that's what's the way to say it? It's the crystallization of spirit. So the root is never bad. You have to work on your root just like every other chakra center. So just understand that earth itself, you're talking about crystallizing spirit. That's it. Bring it down. When you say the prayer, it says, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will on earth as it is in heaven. So that's bringing it down to physical. So that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with root chakra, right? So, and that's pretty much what that entails. But yeah, it's probably going to take this a little while. Now, this one, on the other hand, is like already hard already. This was so small. I forgot about it. I didn't even dress this one. But I more so just want to burn this for the smell. Just to make sure that I like the smell of it. Which I haven't disliked anyone that I've made so far. But anyway, still kind of sank a little bit. So we're going to wait just a little bit longer. We're going to give it a little bit more time. But how's everybody? Everybody that's in there? Peace, peace, peace. I gotta let you know, Christian, you know, I am married now, so I don't want you to, you know, look at this another in another way. But I just want to let you know that now, Christian. All right, I'm getting sleepy, y'all. Peace, peace. What's up, Mad Skills? So what's up? Anybody got any questions for me? What y'all want to talk about now? Come on now. Let's liven this live up a little bit. What we doing? I do plan to be back on. I definitely need to get a little bit more consistent. Probably not this late anymore, but I definitely plan to get on live a little bit more. Because it's not something I've been doing. I used to be more consistent. But y'all know life be lifing. Like I said, we are homeschooling the kids. So, it can be a lot. In the world of astrology, you tell me. You tell me. What you want to talk about in astrology? You tell me. What's going on? What's on your mind? You know, I look at astrology, numerology, cardology, human design. I kind of look at all of them as just a means of, like, reading your energy, you know? I look at it in terms of astrology is like your astrologic. If you want to know how and why you're wired the way you're wired, then astrology is the way to go, in my humble, honest opinion, from my study. And that's because, for one, astrology is so vast. There is so many things, so many tools to it that you can continue to dive into to perfect astrology. Everything is based off astrology, if you want to be honest. Like, astrology is the first. I won't say it's the first, because maybe not the first, but it is the oldest, most put together system that we currently still have from ancient times. So when you look at religion is based on astrology. When you look in, you know, even down to numerology, when you look at the chakras are connected to astrology. They connected to different planets. They're connected to different elements. Just like you have the elements in astrology, you got the planets, you got the modalities. So if you can know how to read it, especially if you just get your chart and just sit down with your chart and study astrology, as in study your chart while learning astrology, to me, that's the ultimate best thing to do. And I put together an astrology course about 3 years ago, and that's how I put it together. Because the only way that I feel like you can really get the most out of it is if you understand how to apply it to yourself. Nobody knows your life like you. Nobody knows what you feel like you. And astrology can answer the questions that you have about yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I do find astrology to be much more helpful than traditional psychology and personality types too, JD Fresh. I do too. What I have found is that you can kind of get a little bit of help from psychology, depending on what you study in psychology. Like Carl Jung, he's the man in terms of tying together the astrology and psychology. Like, he's the man when it comes to it. So astrology did a lot for me in my early years. You know what I'm saying? So like so many things can just ultimately go back to astrology. Everything esoteric and occult can go back to astrology. You know, so astrology is literally the fabric makeup of most esoteric systems at the end of the day. It's the best means. But the problem comes in my opinion, is when we lean on the astrology like a religion, because you're not really supposed to do that. You're supposed to conquer your chart. This is how I see it. I see it as you're supposed to conquer your chart. You become aware, because basically studying your chart is like studying your astrologic. It's studying the mind, or everything that's wired in you to be the way that it is, for you to have the perception that you have on life. It can literally tell you through that chart. So when you can understand it, it's like understanding how your ego works. So me being a Virgo, me having a lot of Virgo energy, my ego don't have to be bad, quote unquote. It don't have to be bad to be out of hand. You see what I'm saying? Because a Virgo is one of service, right? A Virgo is one of critique. A Virgo is a hermit. So that's why so many people can view a Virgo like a know-it-all type of person, like a criticizing type of person, because it's very easy to exert that energy out. But in reality, you got to pull that energy in and see it from within yourself. If you can't become aware of the self, because the Virgo is the sixth house. The sixth house is the house of personal development. I know they say it's work. Your greatest work is the work on you. Yeah, that's your greatest work ever. That's your daily work. You're going to do that every day of your life. Is deal with the things that you got to deal with to perfect yourself. So Virgo dealing with six is always fighting perfection. You see what I'm saying? In that sense, we always fighting judgment. Always fighting critique. That's why Virgo can really beef with the mother a lot. Virgo is the mother, but like if you have a woman that's a Virgo, she can beef with you about your mama, because that's what that Virgo energy is six. And if you look at a six can be like the mother, like a pregnant woman, like that's the belly. So that being the belly, the nurturing, the catering, that's why the Virgo can still be very hard on you. You see what I'm saying? Because it's about your potential. And what the Virgo understands has to come out of you. You see? So that's just me, you know. That's just how I see it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. Are good guys easy to take advantage of? Yes and no. Mostly because if you're a good guy, you probably are a people pleaser. A people pleasers are always easy to take advantage of, whether it's from the opposite sex or the same sex, because you lack the boundaries to put in place, because it's overcome by your need to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? By your need to be liked. You feel what I'm saying? So if you can't, you gotta have boundaries. You gotta, what's how they say it nowadays? You gotta stand on business. So that means if somebody is not doing what that is that they supposed to do in terms of being your partner, you have to stand on that. You can't let it slide. The first time you let a red flag slide, you messed up, because now they're gonna come. It's gonna keep coming, and it's even worse when you act like you didn't see it, because that's you lying to yourself. So when you lie to yourself, you give other people the permission to lie to you too, and you can't really be mad at them for treating you the way that you treat yourself, because you already lying to yourself, because you knew what it was from the beginning, but you didn't want to accept it. So because you didn't want to accept it, now you got to learn the lesson the hard way. Now you got to suffer, because you're not willing to do the hard thing and put yourself first. You see what I'm saying? So it ain't all about being a good guy, because you could be a good guy, you feel me, and still be a bad person in somebody's story, no matter how good your intention was. They say the road to hell is paved with good intention. So you gotta stand on business. You gotta stand up for yourself. How do you find your chart? You need your time of birth. If you know, you really should know it within like a 30-minute window. But if you know your exact time of birth, if you know it on the money, spot on, then you got your chart. All you need is your time of birth and where you were born. You can go to any, you can go to any website what's they got? What's one? Cafe Astrology, Astro.com. And you can put in your information and get your chart. Now, their interpretation is going to be their interpretation. But you can take your chart and you can start to study astrology through your chart. You can get a book that goes into detail about what the sun means when it's in which particular house. Because it's all together. It's like what type of energy is where in your chart and how it's going to play out for you. You see what I'm saying? So if I have a sun in the 9th house, then a lot of my vitality, a lot of my energy is going, a lot of my passion, I don't necessarily say passion, but a lot of my vital energy will go towards that 9th house energy. Now, typically, 9th house has to do with higher learning. It has to do with religion. It has to do with long travel. So it's just, it's a lot. I haven't spoken this much in depth on astrology in a while, but like I said, I did a lot of information breakdowns pertaining to astrology and reading your chart. Now, you can find a lot of it on my YouTube. My YouTube is the same as my handle, Cosmic Paradox. So you can find a lot of it on my YouTube. You're going to have to kind of scroll. And if you go on the Patreon, it's all there on the Patreon. I made a whole course. I have books with the course. There's worksheets with the course. It's everything with the course. But that's how you find your chart. You can just go to any website and you can actually get your chart. And you say you an Aquarius. Now, see, the thing about Aquarius, we don't learn about Aquarius. Oh, we at the right. We good now, y'all, for to put everything in there when it's looking like this. So, the thing about Aquarius is, y'all supposed to be unique, unconventional. Y'all the leaders who lead by being themselves, by being unconventional. They lead away from a pack. It's the opposite of Leo. Leos need a pride. It's natural for them to have a group, people, associates or whatever that are closely knit with them, because they the sun. Sun got to give out their energy. But when you talk about Aquarius, and you talking about like, that Uranus, and you talking about that far out energy, see, Aquarius is the God energy, but they the God of another universe. So that's why they can know things that typically other people may not know, may not be aware of. And they're known, or it is said that they are good to be without the group. But in actuality, because the sun is in detriment, it can make you doubt yourself still, though, deep down, deep down. Aquarius might not never admit it, but they can, And me, I got an Aquarius moon, so I know a lot. I get into a lot with Aquarius. I got a lot of Aquarius people in my life. My Aquarius energy makes me rebel groups. I don't like groups. I don't know. It's something about groups. And when you're dealing with moon, moon is karmic energy. So what my chart told me is I come from a past life of being done wrong by a group. A group did me wrong. And I haven't found a way, to be able to feel comfortable with groups. That's why I feel like that. When it comes to certain groups, I be like, I don't really trust that. I'd rather go my own way. See, I have that nature about me because that's old life energy. That's old energy. You know what I'm saying? But that's something I learned looking at my chart. And and I'm not going to front. I have quite a few books when it comes to astrology, and this is a few on this little shelf right here. This is a few astrology books that I got, and this is just on this little bookcase. But we got the Relating, an Astrological Guide to Living. Liz Green is dope. Liz Green is dope. We got Astrology and the Rising of the Kundalini, Astrology, Psychology, and the Four Elements by Stephen Arroyo. He's pretty dope. Rulers of the Horoscope, Soul-Centered Astrology, Spiritual Astrology by James Speller, The Astrology of Success. This is all a 10th house book. When you want to know about your success, what you're supposed to be doing, the word you're dealing with 10th house. Houses of the Horoscope, Astrology for Lovers. This one is real good, Astrology for Lovers by Liz Green. And I got a few PDFs. I got a few that's not really showing here. I have Saturn, the new look of an old god. So when it comes to astrology, I have quite a few, books that I took the time to kind of go through to get my own understanding astrology. And I use my chart. Because like I said, nobody knows your life like you. Don't nobody know how you deal with things like you do. And I kind of let this get a little too hard. Dang. So these gonna sit on top, but that's cool. That's a big rose petal. So these tweezers come in handy. They really come in handy. Okay. So let's go ahead and put some crystals up in here. All right. My daughter has an Aquarius moon. She's 6. She often feels lonely and gets down on herself a lot. Trying to learn more about her placements. So, with the Aries sun, it's a lot about self-awareness. So it's a lot of learning about herself. Because it's about where in the process looking at the astrology chart. And see, what you realize, though, is that you have different placements. And then there's things like understanding the ruler of your chart. So I'm a rising Pisces. So that means the ruler of my chart. What rules Pisces? Why am I having a blank with that right now? Neptune. Neptune is the ruler of my chart. So I have to look and understand, hey, where is Neptune in my chart? What is Neptune, what is it squaring in my chart, if it's squaring anything? Or what is it trying? When you're looking at a square, understand that's a difficulty. You're dealing with a difficulty or something that you're going to have to work through in this lifetime where you see squares. Just think about, like, when somebody fighting, they squaring up. When people fight, or just like in a boxing ring, most of the time it's a square space. So when you're dealing with squares, you're dealing with some energies that's opposing that you have to work to bring together this lifetime. When you got trines, that's portal energy. That's where you have opportunities to grow, And when you're dealing with transits, transits is a whole nother thing. So it's so much that you can really take in when you're dealing in astrology. Now I'm sitting here, I'm dressing a candle, y'all, a little bit. Can y'all see it? You know what? Let me take it off of this. So we dressing the candle. See there? All right. Now feel free when you get these candles, if you want to take out these crystals, these gemstones. Some of them are rather large, but they're mostly, smaller crystals, smaller gemstones. But you can definitely feel free to take them out. They're charged with the intention for the sake of this candle to balance out your root chakra. All right. So I kind of push it down a little bit with this. Oh, where you going? Yeah, I waited a little too long, y'all. Okay, there we go. So this is how we dress it. A little bit. I'm going to leave this up here. Now we're going to let it sit for 24 hours. And then we'll cut the wick on it. And we should be good to go. But this ideally is what your root chakra candle looks like. All right. So you got a little rose in there. Rose petals and carnations. All right. And a lot of gemstones in there. Garnet. You got garnet, red jasper, some red agate, obsidian, some black rutilated quartz. Quite a few things that's good for the root chakra. Oh, okay. So you a Pisces rising. And see, here's how I know. All right, so I'm going to give y'all another personal example pertaining to astrology. So my moon is in Aquarius. And my moon is in my 12th house. So moon is mother, right? 12th house, subconscious, the house of undoing. You can have alcoholism, institutions, stuff like that. Now we know Aquarius has a detachment. It's known for detaching, right? So moon in Aquarius moon don't like to be in Aquarius because it's air, okay? It has nothing to do with emotions. It don't like feeling. Aquarius ain't about no feelings like that. So they detach from feelings. Sometimes I can subconsciously detach from what it is that I'm feeling. And it's a gift and a curse sometimes because it allows me at times to be able to see things that most people wouldn't be able to see because they're emotionally attached. And I can kind of go above that. But sometimes it's a bad thing because I cannot realize the emotional effect I may be having on a person. Now, this also has played out in my life because my mother, growing up, she used to work at an institution. She worked at an old people home. And I used to hate that place. I used to hate going to that place. I couldn't stand that place. It scared me to death. I hated that place. And also I seen it in my life because when I was born, when my mother had me, when she went in labor, I literally detached from her womb. So they had to do an emergency C-section. So I literally detached from her womb during, it's what pushed her into labor. She had something happen, whatever, with my uncle, whatever happened. But that was the situation, circumstances. So that's me still seeing how that energy has played out in my life. You know what I'm saying? So Scorpio rising. How I put that on there? How I get that off? What? I don't want that on here. Okay, it's gone. Okay, Scorpio rising and it's in your 12th house. Have you ever seen something like that? You're very intense. You can be very intense. But at the same time, do you have any planets in your 12th house? Because it could also be something that you may be hiding from yourself. That intense energy. So you're saying a Scorpio rising and it's in your 12th house. So it starts in your 12th house, and it don't rule your 12th house, but it starts in your 12th house and rules your first house. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so Pluto, oh man. Okay, so Pluto in your 12th house. Okay, that's got a lot to do with transformation. You could have dealt with a past life of somebody wanting to have control over you, though, power. You might feel like you always dealing with power struggles, but at the same time, it could be something that's hidden from you. You could be very powerful yourself, and it just not be something that you're very capable of tapping into. But you could have dealt with a past life of somebody about having a power struggle. Somebody wanted to obtain power over you. It could be transformation in it. Now you could have that same energy with sex. You could have transformative sex when it comes to that. You could have past life partners, especially that you feel like you crazy bonded to. That could really be your undoing as well. But undoing isn't always a bad thing because sometimes you got to destroy it in order to build new. So it's not always bad. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes it can work in your favor because you got to look at what type of, if you have any squares, if you have any trines, you got to look at that too. So it's all like a combination of things. You know what I'm saying? Saturn is coming into your chart next year. What should you expect? Oh, you about to have your Saturn return. Well, over the next 2 years, or maybe it has already started, you really maturing. Now is when you really growing up. The ancients say you weren't grown until you was 30. Today's society, 18, 21. But ancient times, you're not grown until you 30 because by that time you have went through a certain maturation period that has put you in a position to be where you are supposed to be in this life. So that means anything that you built on false foundation finna be coming down. What's your Saturn in? Is it in Pisces? Or what's your Saturn in? Oh, I appreciate that, Christian. Yeah, what's your Saturn in? Because they can tell you a lot too. Because see, my Saturn was in Sag. And I tell you, everything about religion, everything about what I thought to be true, completely undone. Completely undone and built up anew. Aries, word. Okay, Saturn in Aries. Okay, so you deal with awareness, something about yourself. Something that you can come to realization about yourself. It might shake your whole world up. But it's okay if it does. If it does, it's just allowing you to build a stronger foundation. That's it. But sometimes shit gotta shake up in order for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is sometimes. Now we finished this. So this root is pretty much done. Oh, I'll move the wick around a little bit. See, that's the root. That root is done. We loaded this one with gemstones. What's up, Juice? Okay, Fem 9, Ether Goddess Virgo. What? Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon. What you dealing with? When it comes to readings, yes and no. You know, yes and no. I don't really call them readings, right? But I do one-on-ones, and it's like it's an individual based thing. It depends on what the individual need. Depends on what's gonna best suit that individual. We can talk astrology. We can do in terms of numerology. We may utilize all those different things. You know, we're going to talk about some means of shadow work that you might need to work on. Some things that might be present at the moment that you have to address or that you need to address or that you feel pulled to address. So it's really dependent on the individual. So I don't want to call it a reading, though. I don't really want to call it a reading. You feel what I'm saying? But it's a one-on-one. Let's just call it a one-on-one. Let's just call it that. And you can still get a session. You can go to the website. Just hit the link in my bio. You know, everything I got going on is still there. The books, the session that I am doing. You know, if you want to look back at any of the courses, it's all there. Okay, to get a one-on-one, you just go to the link. Hit the link in the bio. And if you have any questions, then just shoot me a DM. Just shoot me a DM, and we can kind of see what may be best for you. You know, what may be something, you know, to do. Yeah, I like consultation more than a reading. I don't want to say a reading because, for one, you have a lot of people who try and duplicate people pages and want to come say they do a reading. So I don't say I do a reading. I don't want to say that. So no, it's not a reading, but we can do a consultation that will encompass a lot of holistic, alternative, and, you know, spiritual tools that we will have at our disposal. We're going to say it that way. That's the best way to word that. You know, I don't want to say reading. And when I find myself doing readings, it just, I don't know, it take a lot of energy. So consultation, one-on-one, but it's very individualized. So it's depending on what you need. It's depending on where you at in your journey. If you fluent in astrology and you understand based on astrology, then we're going to talk astrology. If you fluent in numerology, we're going to talk numerology. If you fluent just esotericism, if you just want to talk more along a psychological type of basis, we can do that too. So it's depending on the individual. That's how we're going to do it. Virgo Sun, Aquarius Moon. Oh, I got the same Virgo Sun, Aquarius Moon, but I'm a Pisces rising, you a Leo rising. Oh, so you opposing Moon and rising. So your Aquarius and your Leo is opposites like this. But at least, that's let me see. Virgo sun, you very analytical. So don't let really get past you. You might be very good at reading people. You got to be careful of who you choose to pour into, because that Leo rising sun's got to give off energy. Wherever Leo is at is where you give life. So that's what you give off. So you got to be mindful, because you got that Virgo sun and you got that Aquarius moon. Sometimes you might feel like you really want to be in the crowd or be with the crowd, and then sometimes you really just want to be to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You might feel like you bipolar sometimes, but it's just the different, means of your personality. Everything isn't called for at all times, so you may be more comfortable being around people than a typical Virgo would, but at the same time, it might not necessarily mean that you prefer to do more things with people, if that make any sense. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So that's how they can kind of be. Now, like I said, the Aquarius moon, you got to watch it, because that moon don't like Aquarius. So it's very easy for you to be detached. And you already a Virgo. They call us Virgos cold. They say we ain't got no feelings. But we have a lot of damn emotion. That's the point of it. We really got a lot of emotion. We really are very emotional. So it's just all in how you just got to balance all of that out. You know what I'm saying? I be looking at it like chemistry almost. You know what I'm saying? It's like different components being put together. You know how they show, you ever seen people who be making the content and they might be like Kobe Bryant, and they might be like passing the ball and he might pour it a little bit, and he might be like, you know what I'm saying, ability to score, it might pour it a whole lot. It's literally just like that. It's just like that. So between especially your big three, but you still got to remember your other personal planets. You got to remember your Venus. That's how you love. You know what I'm saying? It's also how you attract. It's how you attract things to yourself. When it comes to Mars, that's how you do things. That's how you like for things to be done, and that's how you prefer to get it done. So me and my husband, sometimes we opposites, because I'm a Virgo Mars, but he a Aries Mars. So when he want to do something, he want to do it, and he want to do it right then, and he want to put everything into it. But when I want to do something, I got to be methodical. I got to think it out. I got to plan how I'm going to do it. I want to do it a specific way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to be strategic, and sometimes I can be overthinking about it, so that's how it is. That's what it's all really about. You know what I'm saying? It's about just having a way to understand yourself. At the end of the day, that's what you really getting the most out of when you're dealing with astrology. And I gotta admit, when I really started to make my content, when my page really started to blow up, it was a lot of astrology content. Now I really sit and think about it, it really was a lot of astrology content. And I got this way about me sometimes that I can allow things to kind of sway me. And I understand it's in my personality. I understand, how my energy can be, and why sometimes I have to really zone people out and do my own thing, because I kind of got too much of the, like, dang, I'm pulling in too much of the astrology crowd. I don't want to really. So a lot of times what we got to understand is we really our own worst enemy. We really are our own worst enemy, and we conjure up the people that we have issues with in the world, because it's to mirror and reflect back to us what we already got going on within ourselves, but we're just not really able to see it. So we got to be able to see it. That's what it all boils down to. So astrology is like a way for you to be like, okay, so dang, for me, it was like, well, I don't know, do I feel restrictions in pertaining to this right here? And if I do, so maybe I do feel a little bit of restriction there. And it's different. It's just a way for you to become more aware of the self. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what shadow work is. All you doing is becoming more aware of the parts of yourself that you hide, that you feel like you got to put away, the part of you that you feel like is not going to be accepted. And out of that, in that same sense, we create a mask or the personality in our ego in the things that we find that people are showing us energy for. People do gravitate towards us for, oh, well, I am like for this. And we do more of those things. And at the same time, in creating that, you creating a shadow of yourself at the same time. It's duality. It's like God and the devil. So there's the parts of you that you don't want to acknowledge, that you don't like that's there, that you hide from yourself, you know. And then there's the part of you that you love to share with everybody else, the part that you want everybody to see, you know. Now, my issue is I have so much self-awareness that there's times that I feel like I don't always want to bring myself to light, because I understand even with my ego, I'm bringing things to light, and I have to be willing to accept the light being shown on those things. And I know that's some Virgo shit. You know what I'm saying? I understand that that's just a way of, you know, allowing what's in your mind to tell you what is or what's not acceptable. You know what I mean? So you just gotta, you know, like, it all really goes together. Everything is everything. Lauryn Hill was not lying when she said that everything is really everything. So you just gotta, you know, you just gotta be willing to accept yourself. You gotta be willing to accept yourself. Oh, I talk like this all the time. This is how I talk. But I honestly, if I'm really being real with y'all, like, I know that's why I don't like going live. I don't like to share those parts of myself. I don't like to share that all the time. This is why sometimes, if you really know how to read people, you probably could still see that there's parts of me that I still hold back. You probably can see that, you know? And, you know, that's just you gotta work through your issues. That's you having to work through the things that's holding you back. And it's like, okay, why I feel it necessary to hold these parts of myself back. Now, there's some urges, there's some things that we can't do out here in the world, you know, but you still got to be able to be real with yourself. Because if you're not going to be real with yourself, you can't expect other people in the world to be real with you too, you know. And the more you do this self-work, the more accountable you're going to be of yourself. That just is what it is. Now, I'm the type of person where I don't expect other people to make the best decision for me. I can't expect that of nobody else. I can't expect that. So I have to make the best decision for me. I got to put me first, you know. Yo, Leo in the 12th house. Oh, you might have been a ruler or somebody very royal in a past life. You might have been very, 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 very important in a past life, and you having to adjust in this life and not getting that same type of attention. That might be a thing for you. Or you might feel like there's somebody's shadow that you are always in. That's what can come from that 12th house Leo. Peace from Jonna with love and peace to you too. And look, see, I ain't been in there, and them boys still in there playing, because I ain't been in there. See how they do? You can't give kids much. You give them an inch, they gonna take a mile. See that? Still in there being loud. No, they supposed to be in the bed. It's almost 11 o'clock. See, I can't be going live at night like this. Because I already know what it is. But, y'all, we made the candle. So, we finished with the candle. It's getting late. So, I'm going to try my best, y'all, to be going live more, man. I suck at this. I suck at this, man. I'm not good at this. I overthink it so much. I want to be super prepared all the time. It's like, I don't want to go on live without me being prepared to do something. What am I going to talk about, you know? So I'm always, that's ego, man. That is ego, yo. That is ego, man. At the end of the day, it's ego. I know that's what it is. But it don't make it easier just by knowing. You feel me? You still got to do the work. You still got to do the work. And look, I appreciate everybody that hopped on. Y'all feel free to share the live. I'm going to post this on the page, right? I'm going to post this on the page. Y'all feel free to share the live. If you see me, hop on live again. Matter of fact, join the broadcast channel. I'll try and keep y'all up to date on when's the next time I'm going to go live so people can kind of know, But I appreciate you, Christian. Get as many people as you can to come hop on the live. Well, we're going to start giving away some candles. We're going to start, we're going to be talking about, I see y'all like the astrology and numerology topics, man. We're going to talk about these on the live. We're going to talk about astrology, numerology. We're going to talk about how this stuff affects your chakras and all of that type of nature. Oh, yeah, Jaquan. Now, you said your Saturn return coming up. Your root chakra, stay on it. Stay on that root chakra because it's going to take a hit. It's going to really take a hit. You're going to really, be dealing with your foundation. You're going to really be dealing with your foundation. I don't know if you're still in here, but if you are still here, keep that in mind, okay? So just keep that in mind. You watched the fight night? Yeah, that was a cool show. I liked it. I post so many shows. I appreciate the symbolism that's in TV. If we're gonna have entertainment, if we're gonna have movies and TV, then at least let's get something transformative out of them, right? Let's at least be able to see what we can gain from them, right? Because when we watch, anything that we watch, we allowing this to go into our minds. These are symbols that's entering our subconscious, that's programming us with certain or specific things. So it's important that we understand what's going on up here, because everything is out to get your mind. At the end of the day, everything is out to get your mind. So if you can understand and you can know what's going on, then that's just better for you. That's just more of a plus for you. So y'all look for me in the next coming days to go live. I'm gonna try and keep y'all informed on when I'm gonna go, but I can't promise that. I can't promise that because sometimes we a madhouse, It's a lot of us in here, We got 4 kids, so sometimes things get a little hectic, and sometimes things get off schedule, and you gotta go with the flow. Sometimes you gotta go with the flow. So sometimes I just might randomly hop on here, you know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, y'all look for me. If you see me on the live, feel free to hop on. Feel free to share the live. I appreciate everybody that hopped on. Peace, Micah. I'm glad you hopped on. We made a candle. I'm going to share the live, and I'm going to post it on the page, and y'all feel free to take a look at it. And, go to the shop. Purchase some candles if you feel up to purchasing some candles. If you want to do some chakra work, if you need a one-on-one, book a one-on-one. If you have any questions, then just DM me, and we can go from there. But I appreciate y'all. It has been fun. Peace.